Hey guys, Hunter back again. Another showcase of one of my models. This one here I'm pretty proud of. There was a lot of firsts on this one for me. This is actually the Trumpeter ALF fire truck kit, and it's been modified a little bit, not as drastic as a lot of people thinks it has, but pretty much everything to the front side is box stock. A few added little details here and there. This model was built in 2009, about mid-year 2009, and I actually debuted it at my IPMS Region 2 convention, and it done well. When the two-day convention was over, it actually came out with the first place award, which made me real happy with that. But I'll tell you some things that happened during that show that I think many of you should probably realize, that not everybody is going to give you positive comments on your model, but we'll get into that here in a minute. I want to explain a little bit more about the truck. I've actually got it sitting on my ProStars turntable here, so I'm going to turn it on and you can get a 360-degree view of this thing. I actually scratch built and added some details on the interior. It has a laptop in there, and it actually has the Windows screen up on it, and there's just a few things added, but for the main part, it's pretty much box stock. I did stretch the rear section of the truck. This is a single axle as the kit comes, and I stretched it to a tandem axle. This was the first time that I had ever used the KFS real aluminum wheels, and it actually has Jamie's tires on it. Very nice products. And this one here sold me on the KFS aluminum wheels. They're pretty much perfect as is. I polished them a little bit and put them on here. This truck is also fully plumbed and detailed underneath. I did aluminum tubing for the exhaust and for the muffler, and a lot of alclad work. All the kit chrome was stripped off of it and alcladded. There's a lot of bare metal foil on this truck. We used colored elastic bands for the hoses in the rear, and they're coming around there to you. You'll be able to see them here real soon. That's how the bands came out. Look just like the real hoses. I moved some things around on the bed of it. I think the ladders are on the other side, and I used a piece of polished tubing for one of the hose bends. But overall, it's still pretty much a box stock model. A couple little odds and ends added to it, and this model has a lot of detail when it comes to this area that's coming around here, where all your gauges are and your hookups for your hoses. And it's just got a lot of intricate detail that if you go back in and you really spend a lot of time working on that, it can create a really nice model. I actually put a future floor polish over the lenses to create a glass lens on those. And overall, it's a pretty good model. I'm real happy with the way it come out, but it does have its issues, and this model here I learned a whole lot from. On this model, I learned what you do, or actually what you don't do to a model when you're building it, when you're doing final details on it, various items. But that's what I was going to touch on there at the beginning of the video. So there's a lot of you guys out here on the forums that when somebody comes in and you display your model and you put pictures up of your current project you're working on, and somebody like myself comes in and says, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that to your model? And you guys seem to take this totally the wrong way. When I took this model and put it on the table at the Region 2 convention, I actually went up to the head judge of the entire event, who is a model ship builder, and I think he's an aircraft builder also. And I asked him to come over and look at this model and tell me what I needed to do, basically what the model looked like and what he thought of it. And he stood right there in front of me, and you would be surprised the things that he picked out on this model that were wrong. And he never told me one thing that was right about it. He told me everything that was wrong with it. And that's how models are judged. It's not what's right with them, it's what's wrong with them. And you guys seem to take the on these forums and stuff, you take those comments as being negative and bashing your model and this and that and the other, and that's not what it's all about. If I had never asked this head judge what I needed to do different, my models would look just like this one here. And this model is, I'm proud of it. I'm glad I got it done. I actually painted this like the local fire company we have here in Winchester, or one of them. This is their actual colors that they use on their trucks. So I wanted to kind of replicate that. They don't have this actual style truck, but this is the colors that they use. And so I'm real happy with the way it come out. But as far as a competition model, and as far as being a very well built and well assembled model, you know, it's not so great in that department. It's decent. I'm happy with it, but like I say, there's so many things on here that could be better, should have been better, but they were overlooked when the model was built, just to get it done. And that's something that the more things that you overlook, the less quality that your build's going to be. And if you continue to keep overlooking those things, every one of your models will have the same flaws in them. So, but I learned a lot from this one, and most of it was on what not to do. So I just wanted to kind of bring that to any of you guys that may be on the forums or the Facebook discussion group that's watching this video. Just because somebody says something about your model, I mean, it doesn't mean it's negative. This judge that told me about this model, there was nothing negative about any of it. He could have only been a negative if he had told me the model looked great and it was awesome and, you know, all this praise, and then knowing all along that the model had a bunch of flaws in it, and in a real stiff competition, it wouldn't do very well. So, but to kind of give you an idea on, you know, what was used on it, the paint on this is actually out of a can. This is a Duplicolor color that's on it, and it is sprayed with Nason Clear and wet sanded and buffed, and all the decals are out of the kit, just rearranged a little bit. That was one of the things that got me on this. I clear coated over the decals, but I did not wet sand and buff around the decals as good as I should have. You can still see the edge of the carrier film, so that was a no-no, and especially in competition. If you can see that carrier film, they're going to look over your model and usually go on. But I guess this model had the least amount of flaws at that debut show that it went to, and that's why it won compared to what else was on the table. Since then, it's done very well. This model here was the 2011 or 12 National Best Paint winner through Hobbytown. I'm not really sure that the model deserves that award, but that's what was voted, and, you know, I've got the award and the plaque and everything, so, you know, I have to accept it for what it is. But like I say, you guys that are building models out there, you know, when somebody comes in and says, you know, you could really do this different, or you need to do this way or that way, you know, you might want to take some of that information to heart, especially from your experienced modelers that produce very good models, and especially the guys that are into competition. We have a lot of things that we have to look for on a model that many of you would never even think about. And if you can learn from those guys, even if you don't do competitions, you're going to build a much better model. It just depends on how much time and effort that you want to put into it. It's what it all comes down to, is how well your model is going to turn out. But I'm going to go ahead and get this video cut off on, it's getting up here to about 10 minutes. So I just wanted to show you my fire truck that I've done years ago, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you got any questions or concerns or anything on the video, just leave me a message. I'll be more than glad to get back to you. So I'm going to let you go on that tonight. I thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you later.